recently ordered a rough country roof basket system that attaches to the hard top of a JK, and it says that it can attach to a hard top of a 2-door or a 4-door, and I have a 2-door, so it's kind of hard to find roof baskets for that setup. So this is the box that it comes in. It's pretty big, pretty heavy, so we're going to do some unboxing, and then we'll be installing it on the Jeep. And I'm also going to get measurements and stuff like that, so that people can see the details of this roof basket. It says on their website that they have a 250-pound weight capacity on the roof basket, and I just got it for like camping needs and stuff like that. I'm not going to be putting a rooftop tent on it or anything like that, but that way I can take wife and kid and go camping and store all the gear up on top of the Jeep, because when the Jeep's full, there's no room inside of it. So let's get to the unboxing. Okay, got it all unboxed. It comes with an LED mounting bracket, the hardware for that. But I, however, did not get the LED mounting bracket. You'll see in this picture right here that the LED bar would mount inside the front truss of the basket. But like I said, I didn't get the LED bar because I don't plan on keeping this basket on there permanently. I want to be able to take my hardtop off, and you have to remove the basket to take off the hardtop. So for now, no LEDs. Hardware, nuts and bolts, washers. You got your Crossmember mounting bracket for the gutters, and then you got your mounting brackets for the rear end of the basket, which will mount to the hinge of your rear window on the hardtop. And then here's the front truss of the basket, a little bit upside down there. And then here's the rear truss. And the rear truss, you can put LEDs in there as well. But it comes with these rough country logos, and like I said, I'm not putting LEDs on this, so that's what we got for those. And then here is the trusses that will run the length of the roof basket, and then this is the Crossmember bar that the roof basket will mount to. It'll go from gutter to gutter. And then these right here, these are the heaviest part in the box, and this is the cross members for the basket itself. So let's start putting it together. that's it for assembling the roof basket independent of putting it on the Jeep. The rest of the process is done on the Jeep itself, so that'll be next. And you're not supposed to tighten down any of these bolts, so they're all left pretty loose. That way this thing can move around and adjust as it needs to. Make sure that it's perfectly squared and adjusted and lined up on the top of the Jeep. So let's get to the Jeep. All right, so let's start with the gutter brackets. I've already made one, so this is the other. So these are the two pieces that you'll need here. And you also need one of these little foam pads that they have. And don't drop it. That foam pad is going to go right there because that's the spot where it's going to be making connection with the top of your Jeep. So that's to reduce vibration and damage and wear and tear. Peel that off. Stick it right there. And you take this piece like this. There's a hole there. It goes up through there. So these sliding holes right here line up with the two welded nuts on the backside. Take two of the short button top bolts and these little washers and just thread them in. Everything needs to be loose. I'm going to thread it in until the bolt comes a little flush with the nut there. I'll do it with both of them. Just so the bolt is a little flush with the nut there, so it's got plenty of room to wiggle around. Take another small washer from one of the nuts with the nylon in it. There we go. Washer nut. Put that on there. It's all nice and loose. And then we're going to put it on the Jeep. Now the next step is we need to pop this open because there's two mounting brackets back there, and that'll be the rear mounting brackets for the rooftop. So we're just going to pop this open. It's a little bit tedious. Just get a screwdriver under there somehow. You just pop it up. Those are the two bolts that we're going to need to get to. The instructions say to loosen them. We don't remove them because that's what's holding this bracket on, which is what's holding this window up kind of. So we're just going to loosen them so we can slide the mounting brackets down behind them and then tighten them back up. So let's get that done. Give you a closer look real quick at the two bolts that I'm talking about. Just right there. So we'll loosen those up. So we're going to loosen up those two bolts right now. These two right here. That's a 10 millimeter. So hopefully you got one laying around. And you want to loosen them up pretty considerably. I'll back them out enough to be able to put the plate in there. I'll show you the plate real quick. Right here. And it's got a little R right there on the bottom of the plate. It tells you this part's facing the rear, so it kind of scoops out because there's going to be another plate that's going to bolt onto the front side of this. Back this other one out. Now, there's something I want to show you up close. I don't know how well you can see it, but the actual plate starts to separate from the hardtop. You need to put the mounting bracket behind that plate. So make sure you got enough room. That's why you got to loosen it up a little bit. Slide that behind there. So see, I still need to loosen this side up a little bit more. So I'm going to do that while I'm holding this camera. Keep putting it back down. Just loosen that up. Loosen this one up. That was good. try again. So it's got to go behind that right there, and just push it all the way down. And then switching socket back to tighten. We're gonna tighten those two back up. These are just 10mm bolt hex heads, so they don't need to be super tight. Be good and snug. Tighten them evenly. Snug. A little snugger. A little snugger. Alright, put that back on. Then I already installed the other one. So I just gotta put that piece back down. So you can see the plate sticking up there now. So we'll move on to the next step. So this next part, you'll need this bracket right here. It's an L-shaped bracket. And you'll notice that one part is longer than the other, and it's got longer holes on it too. So the part with the longer holes is the part that's going to mount to this right here. It's going to mount right in front of it, just like that. What you're going to need to mount that is 2 more of these button head bolts, short ones, 4 of the small washers, and 2 of the nylon nuts. The nut's not made out of nylon. You're just going to line it up like that. You can see that pretty well. Put it through. Washer on the back. And then screw on that nut. If I can keep my fingers on it. Just gotta start threading. It hits the nylon, and then we'll do the other one as well, so the bracket's not hanging so limp like that. It'll make it easier for us to tighten it down. Nut, washer, bracket, washer, bolt. Put it on there. Then the kit comes with 2 of these Allen keys. You'll use the larger one for this, and a little 13mm combination wrench. And you'll just tighten these down, but enough that you can still adjust these, because these are your height. These give you the ability to adjust the height on your roof basket. So you want them to be holding, but you don't want them so tight that you can't move them yet. Everything's going to stay loose until everything's lined up the way you want it. What's nice is that once everything's lined up the way you want it, you can just take the basket off. It's a little bit too tight. You just take the basket off. You can leave all this hardware on there. Pretty good solution for a 2-door Jeep. Considering that only the front panels have gutters for some reason. So you can't just get a traditional roof rack and put it on there. You got to find either something that drills into the hardtop or something like this. The ones that drill into the hardtop hold more weight, from what I read. So if I were doing a rooftop tent, I would definitely invest in one of those. But I'm not doing a rooftop tent. This one holds enough weight that it's going to get the job done for what I want it for. So I already did this other bracket as well, so you can just see it close. It's mounted on there. So now on to the next step. It's pretty simple. You got your gutter here. this piece here with the foam pad facing down, and it's just gonna clamp right into this. This part's just gonna slide right into the top of the gutter. It's gonna go onto there. Not gonna tighten them down yet because we don't have them lined up properly, but you'll just tighten down this top nut right here, and then these side ones will clamp it onto the gutter. So now we need to put the mounting brackets on top of these. So I actually changed my mind on how I'm gonna do this, and I took the gutter mounting brackets off of the Jeep. I'm gonna mount them on this right here because I was having some alignment issues. And it was hard to work with it up there. So, flip this over. This is going to mount there just like that. You can see there's adjustment capability there. And for this part, real quick before we get going, you need more of these small little button head bolts. It's going to go button head bolt, lock washer, small washer. And then so we go through all this hardware. And you're going to put another washer on the bottom side. And then a hex bolt, non-nylon. And that's going to snake its way into there somehow. And this is the issue that I was having up on top of the Jeep, but it was much harder with everything up there. Also, I couldn't get a good angle with the camera, so you wouldn't be able to see it. I don't know how well you can see it now. I hope it's better, but I couldn't see it at all up there. So, bolt, lock washer, washer, hardware, washer on the bottom. You gotta sneak it in there. And then hex head nut. No nylon lock washer inside of it. Just twist that on there. There we go. That's one side done. And we're still able to move it around if we need to, because these will have to adjust once it's actually up on the Jeep. So we'll do the other side now. Okay, put my camera up on my head because I need both hands for this part and I want you to be able to see this. So we've got this back up on the roof. I'm going to try and go ahead and measure it out to 9 inches like it says to do in the instructions. So that's 9 inches right there. So this actually needs to come up this way. I'm going to do the other side as well. First, let's tighten this down so it doesn't run off. And this probably would be a lot easier with these already mounted to the roof to make everything even and stuff. But for the sake of making the video, I went ahead and mounted the Crossmember with this knot on the roof. Hopefully that shows how to install these parts better. Snug those down. I'll go over to the other side, do the same thing. Killing my fresh new grass. It's 9 inches to about there. Good enough, right? Can be adjusted again later. And the reason why this would be easier with this already tightened down, putting the Crossmember on while these are already on the roof, is you need to center the Crossmember on top of the roof. You'll see in a second that it moves around, but it needs to be centered. Otherwise, when you put the roof basket up there, the roof basket will be crooked, which would be a pain. Just tighten these down. Super fun to watch. probably gonna be the longest video I ever make. Okay, so that's done. Go ahead and do this so I can get up on here. Put my tools up there. Let's step up. All right. Just try and get the camera point down at this so you can see it. So, this has some wiggle and play in it. We need it to be even. And so right now, as you can see, it is not even. So I'm gonna go check the other side. Once you get it even, you just tighten down those nuts on the top. So for this video to not be super long, I'll show you once it's actually evened out and tightened down. We'll be back. Okay, so I did a little bit more without the camera. I got the roof basket up on top of the mounts. So real quick overview of what I did before we move on to the next spot. The reason why I didn't have the camera for this part is because it's just me doing this, and it wasn't going to be a pretty sight, me putting this huge heavy roof basket up on my roof by myself. I kind of scratched at my hardtop a little bit there, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. So anyways, these mounting brackets right here, I pulled them up to the highest point that they would go to, and I tightened these down. You want to do that before you put the roof basket up on top of there, because this roof basket's not light. Then the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to put, set this down right here. Shoot. I'm going to put these on the mount, between the mounting bracket and the roof basket right here on the rear. That way that this doesn't move around. I'm not tightening them down. I'm just putting them in there so the roof basket doesn't fall off while I'm trying to make my adjustments. And then I need to adjust the front crossmember bar. Okay, so this is how you're gonna install that. So it's these 8mm button head bolts, and the large washers, you're gonna use 2. So let me find a good angle to grab at this without knocking the camera off. So it's going to go through to the bottom right there. And then you're going to use one of these nylon locking nuts. Put another washer up on the bottom there. And the nut goes on the bottom, just like that. And just thread it in. That one's on there. And we'll do the other one. Again, angle, angle, angle. This would be a lot easier with 2 people. Be a lot easier with 2 people just because of how heavy this roof basket is, and none of it's tightened down when you're putting it up there, so it's kind of tends to get a little bit wobbly. There we go, both of those are on there. So now I can still move this around if I need to and adjust it. Let me pull the camera off of here. This little tripod's got its legs wrapped around everything. So, as I suspected, I measured this to 9 inches right there, and that was off. So I'll get up here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the cross member, there's a hole right there. It needs to mount there. So now I got to loosen up the cross members and slide this whole cross member forward a little bit so that it's balanced where it needs to be, and then I can install the bolts there, and then we can start tightening everything down and making sure everything's even and balanced, and then we'll have ourselves a roof basket. It looks pretty nice so far. Yep. So quick update, I've been working on this without the camera because it's been some pretty awful angles. This part's pretty tough. Getting to this hardware under here, right there, I can't even really see it. And it's as difficult to get to as it is to see. But I've tightened down the basket to the cross member, and I've tightened down the rear mounting brackets as well. So the last step is to tighten down the cross member to the gutter brackets, and then all of these pieces all over the basket now that it's in place and even. I'm not going to record me doing all that. This stuff's pretty simple. I hope this video helps, because the instructions are quite vague on how to put this thing together, and the pictures are all in black and white, so really the pictures are just big black squares. Some few things like this you can see right there. This thing is literally like this bracket right here is crooked. I've tried messing with it, like loosening up this and tightening it back down while pushing down on it further and stuff. It's all mounted on there evenly. It's just not made well. It's crooked. Roof basket looks nice, but boy oh boy, it's a pain to put on. One thing that I will do differently is next time I take this roof basket off, let me get up here. This will be the last bit, and then I'll move on. Next time I take this roof basket off, these right here, well, you can see them. Instead of replacing those with the little nylon nuts that go underneath it, I'm going to get wing nuts that I can tighten down by hand, and little locking washers, and I'm going to install these from the bottom going up, so I can just hand tighten those wing nuts right there. That'll make putting this on and off, taking this on and off, much easier, and I won't ever remove that cross member from the roof basket, because putting that on took me close to an hour. So the cross member will come off, and also lining it up takes forever too. The cross member will come off with the roof basket as one whole piece. Like I said, I'll put wing nuts on these rear mounting brackets so I can put those on by hand, because getting tools in there, it's pretty difficult, pretty annoying. Makes me not want to ever take this roof basket off. So seems pretty sturdy now that things are all mounted down on it properly and stuff. Looks good. Just got to finish tightening everything up, and it's all done. So it's all complete, it's all tightened down. Just give it a quick walk around, show you the finished product. Once again, they do make LEDs that go into these right here, and you just take these plates out. But I want to be able to take this thing off, put it on when I need it, take it off when I don't. A little bit of scratches to my hardtop. So, some critiques. This right here, when I was tightening down the top part, very easily deformed. The other side didn't do it, but this one did, where this part right here just bent out as I tightened this down. And I wasn't tightening it down any harder than I was tightening it down over there. I had to take it and put it on my workbench and clamp it down and hammer it out and retighten it back down, and then it started to do it again, so I just got it good and snug. The other thing that happens is when you start to tighten this down, it puts torque on the rest of the mounts, and it makes this come down flush, which is good, right? It also puts torsion on this bar right here, which is also good. But because this is just fiberglass, it's not all that strong, so it actually starts to pull up on these panels It doesn't seem like it's a big enough gap to make a difference or anything like that, but it definitely pulled the panels on both sides up a little bit. Other than that, now that everything's all tightened down, all the cross members and everything, hop up there real quick. It's pretty sturdy. With the two-door, takes up most of the roof, which is what I wanted. Something that takes up most or all of my roof. And you know, I like to do this whenever I'm going to be putting any sort of load on my vehicle, is to make sure that it's one with the vehicle. You grab that thing and you shake it, and if it shakes the whole vehicle with it, which I don't know how well you can see it with this camera because this camera has that anti-shake in it, but it moves the whole vehicle with it. So it's on there pretty good. Yep. And once again, these two right here, next time I take this off, I'm gonna get some 8mm wing nuts and reverse these so I can wing nut these down. The rest of it will never really have to come apart again. Done and done. And one last bit before I finish up this video and stop talking. Extra hardware. Extra hardware always makes me nervous. I used these little lock washers anywhere that it told me to use a lock washer. Like I said, the instructions are pretty vague. As an example of the pictures, it's pretty hard to get out detail out of these. Exactly what's supposed to go where. I mean, it gets the point across, but kind of leaves a lot lacking. I'm sure if I were to go online, I could probably find them in color, which would help a lot. Don't know what these go to. I don't believe that they're part of the light mounting system, because here's all the light mounting brackets right here, which I didn't get the lights. But all I had left over was a bunch of lock washers, so it could be that these are just extras. I hope they're just extras. If not, then next time I take the roof basket off, then I'll find some weak points, maybe some bolts that back themselves out from vibration driving around, and I'll put them in their place. But yeah, I don't know what these are for. I wish the instructions were a little bit more clear, but it goes on pretty well. So that's it. That's all I got for the roof basket.